or beneficial to me. That's always been the position of a jiva. In the exercise of exploring one's own nature, the beneficial aspect of that exercise is I shall be basking in the bliss without even an iota of sorrow. Sarva dukkha varjanam is the beneficial part of this study. I am told that I am Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa by those who attained that state. I have no means of verifying what they say because at present I am subjected to vagaries of pain and pleasure. So right now, I am not discarding completely what they are saying. I am just presuming that they may be talking truth. This presumption of what they are telling is precisely what is called Shraddha or Vishwasa. With that faith and faith alone, I am trying to march onwards. In this study, then there are two distinct aspects we can see. One is my own internal nature. One is nature of my external things. And the third logical corollary is scheme of things. When I intend to study that, I can lend part of my ear to the creation, part of my ear to myself, because they are interrelated. There is a created world, and since I know every creation has to have a creator, or in simpler words, every karya has to have a karana, I am trying to study karya to find out the karana. I am trying to analyze the karana to do sangati of karya, interrelationship between karya and karana. So far, nothing difficult to understand. The question here is, if Ishvara is the creator, the name given by us to that creator is Ishvara. Why Ishvara? The word Isha is the word dhatu in that particular statement. Isha means to lord over. Niyamya, one who lords over, one who controls is Ishvara. So since there has to be somebody who creates, who coordinates or regulates, so under whose auspices the created world works, can only be called as a creator. If further thinking came to the mind that there must be somebody who creates, there must be somebody who maintains, and it is heard that everything that is created has to be destroyed, so there must be somebody who destroys. This is a further thought. So we have Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh representing those three functions. The question here is whether one function has three, or there are three different functionaries working under one. This is again a thought for further processing. But the fact remains that Ishvara has created the Srushti, which is called Ishvara Srushti. Then what about my Srushti? I am a part of Ishvara Srushti, agreed. Everyone sitting here are part of Ishvara Srushti, agreed. Inanimate objects starting from the floor or the stone to the wall is a part of Ishvara Srushti, agreed. So far there is no problem. So there is a creator and there are created things. This is perfectly fine, very good in harmony, wherever the way it is created. Because how and why it is, why a particular square is a square and not a round, we don't know. That is creator's job. Why a man has been not given a shape of about 9 feet everybody in height, that's his job. Why somebody is on 4 feet and why somebody is on 2 feet, It is his job. So in his created world, everybody is created with certain purpose known to him. So far not difficult to understand. Now it comes to me that do I stay in Ishwara Srushti or do I create another Srushti for myself? The thought starts here that I interpret Ishwara's Srushti as I see it, or I create my own Srushti. This is the question that needs to be analyzed. And the reason why we are analyzing it is, this is what we are trying to straight away stretch and take it back to Omkar. Now, Pranav Sadhana or Omkara, how this can be connected with this question is what we are trying to see. Jiva Srushti is, since Ishvara has infused us with his powers, every created thing has powers of creator. It is a rule. In our family life, we call this as heredity. You get genes from here, you get genes from there, and sankramana, transmigration of those genes to the next. That is how a man's child looks like a man, because he carries all the phenomenon or phenotypes or genotypes of the parents. So creator exhibits its powers in creation. The only difference may be, it may not be fuller manifestation, it can be a different type of manifestation. So Ishvara is endowed with amaryada Shakti, limitless power. He has limitless power, the power of Ichha, Jnana and Kriya. These three are his powers. In a grosser level, with these three he operates. So all his creations have these three things in him: Ichha, Jnana, Kriya. Now they may be in not fuller expression, depending upon what creation it is. A stone doesn't have Ichha Shakti, it is more or less dormant there. Jnana Shakti, we feel, how can a stone have a Jnana? The fact that there is a Jnana Shakti, that is the reason why we recognize that as stone. The recognition that it is a stone by me is itself a recognition by one Chaitanya of another Chaitanya. So Jnana Shakti. Kriya Shakti is not developed, so it doesn't move on its own. The power is resting in water. We all know that. But we drink it. Only when it is accumulated in large scale, it becomes a hydroelectric plant. So power is there in water also. The same power is harnessed into the energy. Now, which is the species where all these three Shaktis are developed at its peak? That is Manushya Yoni. All the three Shaktis are developed to its maximum. And since Ishvara is omnipotent and harbinger of all these three powers, one who has all these three powers very well developed can reach Ishvara faster. That is why Naradeha Stavana. Why importance to Naradeha? Not because we eat, not because we drink and sleep. It is simply because we are endowed with highest possible manifestation of Lord in creation. So far not difficult to understand. The question here is, if everything is created by God, everything is endowed with God's powers in different proportions, such is the scheme of design for Ishvara Srushti. Now let us say Ishvara has created a particular thing. It is a part of his creation. It is coming into being. It is remaining in that state for some time and it is getting dissolved. There is nothing wrong in this. So in Ishvara Srushti, everything happens in a regular fashion, rhythmic fashion. It is called Ruta. There is a cosmic rhythm in Ishvara Srushti. Incidentally, when created world or creation gets the power, that power becomes a double-edged sword. Ishvara has given Ichha Shakti to us. So we are able to desire anything. So he gave a power in our hand. Utilization of that power was left to the creation. The power came from the source, but the utilization of that power is left to the creation, and then this power, when it is utilized to attune to the God, you remain a part of the Ishvara Srushti. When you start utilizing these powers in interact with other creations of God, and then when you have these creations interaction with each other, creating a psychological association, right, at that point of time, Jiva Srushti begins to evolve. Jiva, so far it is a part of Ishvara Srushti, there is no issue. Jiva, when it interacts with another Jiva, a creation, when it interacts with another creation, and that interaction, when it leads to, only interaction is not an issue, because you are supposed to interact, being the part of Ishvara Srushti. When you interact with another creation and that interaction is taken as personal interaction. When I say personal, the creation has created an ahankara in him. I am interacting with another jiva right at that point of time. Because of my ahankara, my interaction with another jiva creates an impression in me. You will easily understand that I am trying to just elaborate Dhyate Vishyan Pumsa in a different manner. The object could be another person, object could be inanimate object. I interacting with that object is utilizing my indriyas to see the object. So far there is absolutely no problem. In fact, one of the reason of God's creation is to take ananda upabhoga of whatever is around. It is not for some sinister reason that the world is created by Lord. Creation is a pleasure. Being a part of creation is also a pleasure. Interaction with the created bodies, presuming them to be personal interaction through ahankara, is an issue. When you interact with anyone, but you remember that this interaction is an interaction within Ishvara Srushti, you remain as you are. The creation remains as you are. That is called simple absolute existence. You exist as God created you. Simple absolute existence. Another word is the only existence, or Kevala. And one who attains this Kevala is Kaivalya. So Kaivalya is nothing else but moksha. How Kevala is moksha? When you interact with another creation and take a personal interaction as your interaction of your ahankara, you get bound. When you don't think in this manner, you become unbound. Unbound is mumukshatu. Moktum, freedom, free from the entangles or entanglements of you and your surroundings. So far, it is clear that there is a Ishvara Srushti, there is a Jiva Srushti. Jiva Srushti is a self-created, erroneous relationship by a creation. And the possibility of creating this wrong interaction is higher with higher endowments of Ishvara's power. Higher the endowment of Ishvara's power, more is the possibility that you will realize Ishvara on one hand. But higher the power, there is also higher possibility that you may misuse it. Then somebody says, sir, hold on. I understand this, but when was that first Ishvara that came into existence, and when was that first Jiva that came into existence? And the answer to this is, it is Anadi. Anadi means beyond the scope of human intellect to understand when it all started. If this is the case, then did Ishvara create the Srushti because he wanted to create the Srushti? Or did Ishvara create the Srushti because the individual Jivas had a karma? Think. हमने पाप पुण्य किया, so Ishvara created Srushti, or Ishvara created Srushti and then we did Papa Punya? Because he is Niyanta, Niyamak, he is a controller. To control, somebody has to misbehave. So is it that Ishvara behaved or we misbehaved? This question is also a question plagued with Anavastha dosh. You can't go backward. When was the first sin committed? We don't know. There is no answer to this question, as Vivekananda says. But as of date, Buddha was one step ahead of this. Buddha said, even if I know that, what use it is of me? The use would be how to get out of it, rather than to find how I got into it. So once we know that Jiva Srushti and Ishvara Srushti, these are two independent things. There is no Astitva for Jiva Srushti because he is nothing else but part of Ishvara Srushti. Whatever Ishvara has created is Ishvara Maya. So the day we realize that we are part of the Ishvara Srushti, we ourselves become Ishvara. Because by not becoming Ishvara, what we have done is we have created our own existence. This creation of our own existence leading to Jiva Srushti is called Ahankar. Now, Ahankar, once it develops and I start interacting with other people, I take my Ahankara to very many logical conclusions. And what are those conclusions? My interaction, once it starts from the standpoint of Jiva Srushti, as my universe, I start creating impressions as Anukul and Pratikul. So far in God's world, everything was fine. Swami Vivekananda said, destruction is such a beauty of God. Destruction, it's such a beauty of God, Kalima. Hinduism worships Kalima, and people are surprised to see a Devi with a tongue protruding out with blood on her tongue, with a Naramunda Mala. Anybody would say that this could be a stupidity of very high order. But to understand why it is so is because destruction also, being a part of Ishvara Srushti, is endowed with same Ishvara. As a slap to the own child by a mother would not be considered as an atrocity. Similarly, God and his destruction or ways of destruction are also part of his Leela, or also a part of his creation. And we worship all. Or else, how can you worship a God who is completely covered with ash and his job is to destroy? Which is Shiva. Rudra, we call it Rudra Avatar. He does a Tandava Nritya to destroy everything. Yet, that is a manifestation of God. If this is the case, and once we know Jiva Srushti and Ishvara Srushti, now it is imperative on our part that for some reason I came to a point where by being a Jiva, I got involved into my own Srushti and I am now completely entangled, and the outcome of this entanglement is enormous amount of sorrow. To mitigate the sorrow, I am constantly striving. If we have to define our life as of today, irrespective of whether you are a billionaire or a beggar, one single line definition of life is a constant, consistent effort to mitigate the sorrow. There is no further definition to the life. Sorrow may take different shapes. I am not getting a good pilot for my private aircraft because sorrow. And for last 7 days, nobody has given me the alms which are not more than 1 day old. Is a sorrow for a beggar. Magnitude of the sorrow is also same. When a billionaire's wife gets a $350 million aircraft as a gift on a birthday, the happiness that she gets, and when a beggar gets a hot Puran Puli or whatever, some sweet on a festival day by one pious lady, the happiness in quantum and magnitude is same, and not only quantum and magnitude, it lasts also for the same time. What does this indicate? It indicates one thing, that my own created Srushti is not helping me much in mitigating the sorrow. The reason is, मैं कार्य से कार्य का विध्वंस करना चाहता हूँ. I am trying to mitigate कार्य by कार्य. Karya cannot mitigate a karya. Karana can mitigate the karya. By money, I am trying to mitigate one sorrow. Money is karya. So it mitigates that, but that being karya again, the mitigation is never complete. The mitigation is complete when the cause. You get an electric shock when there is a short circuit. So you go to one appliance, you get a shock. So you take away your hand. Then you touch another one, you again get a shock. What you have done is, you have come out of one karya but touched another karya. The karan is, you have to plug out. That is karana. The electricity needs to be plugged from the source, then no shock will be there with any of the appliances. This is called Karana Saha Dukha Nivrutti. The word is Karana Saha. Why? When the Karan is removed, can Karya be there? If the Karan is removed, Karya cannot be there. So it goes with the way that when Karan is Nivrutta, Karya automatically is Nivrutta. And the process of doing this Karana Nivrutti is what Vedanta stresses upon. It is not interested in your... Vedanta will not answer what to do when you have 3 children and 2 want to go to Harvard. It says no, Harvard, 2 children, everything has one karana. You do that, everything else will be taken care of. In order to do that, it is necessary to focus upon from where the sorrow has come. The sorrow has come because I created my Srushti called Jiva Srushti. I need to go back to Ishvara Srushti. The process of going from Jiva Srushti to Shiva Srushti is lose the identity as a Jiva. You automatically become Shiva, Ishvara Srushti. Once this is clear, Then comes a very important and a vital concept. If I have to dissolve my identity, because dissolving my identity is the primary requirement to achieve another identity. When I dissolve my identity, I am likely to get another identity. But what is the guarantee that another identity is not suffering from a problem? So what they say is, you dissolve your identity so that you don't get an identity. You do not remain as a Jiva, then what you are shall be called Shiva. And Shiva itself has no identity, because identity presupposes ahankara. Identity presupposes ahankara. If once this is known to me, how do I extricate myself out of that srushti, Jiva srushti that I have created? First is, suppose you intend to leave for a pilgrimage. What do you do first? Ask a lady what she does, because man doesn't do anything. A lady first tries to close the house. कितना दूध पड़ा हुआ है, पी के खत्म करो या तो give it to the neighbor. All clothes are to be washed because then it will start smelling. What she is trying to do is she is cleaning the house, because pilgrimage is about to begin. This cleaning of the house is what is called as Charitra Shuddhata. Without that, you can't start for the pilgrimage. Once you do that, once Chitta Shuddhi is achieved, you are free in your mind to go for the pilgrimage. Nothing is going to go wrong there. And what if you don't clean and go? It will constantly plague you that this is there, I have to go back, and you will intend to ultimately come back. Since you don't intend to come back and complete the pilgrimage, Chitta Shuddhi has to be complete. After Chitta Shuddhi, then comes the question, you are supposed to go on a pilgrimage to a destination. The destination is Brahmajnana. This much is clear to us. We don't know what that Brahma is, but at least intellectually we know that there is something called Brahmajnana. There is somebody who is Brahma Vidvara. He is telling me that there is a station called Brahma. Fair enough. To proceed towards that, I need to dissolve my Jiva Srushti. We already saw that. Dissolving the Jiva Srushti, which is equivalent to dissolving the Ahankara, is done by a process of de-identifying ourselves from the vestures. Swamiji's most popular word. Vestures that we have identified with. And how do we do that? As a first step, you forget that you are Dr. Jadhav. Why? You have identified yourself so far with that vesture. Then, what do I identify as? Immediately you cannot completely de-identify yourself. Not so easy, not possible. One day you are somebody, very next moment I am nobody. That cannot happen. Then there is an intermediate state. What is that intermediate state? What do we do when a child is not studying? We don't say, come and study. We say, come, I give you a chocolate. The child first comes from outside to the house to get that chocolate. Swarga Prapti is a chocolate. There should actually be no mention of Swarga Prapti anywhere. Why do you want to be with those dancers and you never go old and milk and honey's rivers are flowing, etc.? What is this all funny phenomena about? When every phenomena is supposed to be a destructive thing. The idea is very simple. Since it is not possible, and the Lord Himself being the creator, He knows the universe better, or we know the universe better? He knows His creation better, and He knows very well the creations what they are doing. So He gives us a state that once you want to come closer to me, Once you want to move from Jiva Srushti to Ishwar Srushti, after you have done your Chitta Shuddhi, do one thing. Stop identifying with the world, which is full of plurality, and your identification since you wake up till you sleep is constantly identifying with different things at one point of time. You are nothing else but a continuous flux of different roles we are playing. Husband, father, man, myself, fiance, lover. There are so many roles you are playing because you are identifying with the things outside. The Lord says, stop identifying with this multitude of things that you see in my creation. By the way, they are not your creation. Identify with me as whatever you like. As whatever you like. But identify with me. This process of identifying with the Lord in an attempt to distract ourselves from multitude of things to one thing is a process of dhyanam or meditation. What is meditation? Using the same instrument called antakarna or mind given by God, asking the mind or the antakarna not to focus on too many things outside, but focus on one thing, the theme of which is to your liking. But then themes can be as many as you want. Hinduism being the wisest of the religion, it said, take whatever you want. Then somebody came and said that, no, I will take a stone. What is your problem? He said, okay, stone is also not a problem. I want my God with 4 hands. That is also not a problem. Take eight hands also. That is also all right. Somebody says only 2 are enough for me. Whichever way you want to have that one identity, which is not me, but you presume me to be there, fair enough, go ahead with that. And that is where upasana comes into. Now what is upasana? Before upasana, where I was with multitude of things. That means I was staying with many things. Now I am going to stay with Lord, but staying with Lord is not easy. If I can't go very close to God, at least I can be close to the God. Upa means near. Going near the God is upa, and staying with Him, asana. Upa asana, an attempt to go closer to the God. The process is called dhyana. The aim is to go closer to the God. Let's take another analogy to understand. If you want to meet Lord Krishna, He stays in Dwaraka. I am in Karnataka, in the world. So my first march would be towards the people who are joining as pilgrimages to Dwaraka. This joining of pilgrimage is called Salokata. Salokata. Then, when I go close to the God, that means I reached Dwaraka. I move closer to the Lord now. I reached Dwaraka, it is Samipata. I've come closer, Samipata. When I actually go to Lord's palace, the temple, and went inside the temple, there were a few people there. Now I am allowed to come there because I am almost similar to Lord Sarupata. Now there is not much difference between the people standing around Him and Him. Why? Because I saw Radha standing there. I saw Gopika standing there. I saw Yashoda Mata standing there. They are all Sarupata. And once you are so close to God, then you become God. Sayujjata. So in this way, these are called Chatur Mukti. 4 types of muktis. Mukti means again debonding, mumukshata, This four types and this pilgrimage is nothing but the pilgrimage of Jiva Srushti to Ishvara Srushti. So in this upasana, when you do the upasana, the first thing is to go for a Saguna upasana. That means take something as an object. Why? I'm used to the objects. Just think. Can you think without an object? It is utterly impossible. Why? A drunkard, even if he looks at the water, what he looks, he says, it looks like exactly, slightly like brandy, slightly like. His mind is full of, because he's interacted so much, he's not able to come out of it. Object-less meditation is the most difficult aspect. So that means now Dhyanam is of three types. Dhyanam is of three types. But before uttering the word Dhyanam, we must not forget that Dhyanam is a stage or an exercise or an examination meant for those who have Chitta Shuddhi. There are ample number of stupids in our own country who says that एक घंटे के लिए ध्यान में बैठता हूँ मैं. Dhyanam is not that easy a thing whereby I define what I do as Dhyanam is not Dhyanam. In Dhyanam there are three types. One is Anya Dhyanam. What is Anya Dhyanam? I take this spectacle and I call this as Vishnu. Now first of all, this is not Ishvara, this is spectacle. What I am calling Vishnu is also separate. Anya ka anya mein dhyan. Anya dhyanam. Shaligramam is a stone. Right? Shaligramam is Vishnu, is Kalpana, Sambhavana. The word used is Sambhavana. So in Shaligramam, Vishnu is existing. When I do this Sambhavana or Sankalpana and start meditating on Shaligrama as Vishnu, what happens? The thoughts that I have, where did they go? First they left everything where they were going earlier and they came only to that so-called black stone. But before I could think it as a black stone, no, it is Vishnu. Now where all the thoughts are moving, all the thoughts are going towards Vishnu. What is there in front? Shaligrama. The third party will see a Shaligrama. I am seeing Vishnu into it. This is called Pratika Upasana. Pratika Upasana. So powerful is this Upasana that every Hindu household has. What is there in that small cupboard is Pratika Upasana. Otherwise, who is there in this photograph? What happens when you look at it? We don't look at it as a photograph. Moment we look at it, something happens inside. Gurudeva is there in that photograph. Why that happening? What happened in the heart is a feeling that Gurudeva, that means an inanimate object, which is a plain paper, has created in me a feeling of Gurudeva himself. This is Pratika Upasana. Now comes the question. I don't intend to have a Pratik. Why take Shaligrama in front? Take Vishnu in front. Possible, isn't it? It is definitely possible. That is called Dhyana, Dheya Dhyanam. Dheya Dhyanam or Dheya Upasana. You have your Dheya in front of you. Just close your eyes. You must have seen in that Vishwarupa Darshana. What Partha says, Lord, Saumyam Rupam. I don't want that Rupa of yours. I want you to see as Chaturbhuja. What he is asking is, he is asking for Dheya Dhyanam. Vishnu himself becomes the Dheya. Possible. That is also possible. Close your eyes and keep bringing Ram Murti, Bhagavan Sri Ramachandra in front of you. Possible. Sri Krishna. And then it is your choice. Then it comes with a slightly bluish hue, a slight smile on the face. Lord is like that. Lord Krishna is like that. Or else you have Ardhan Milita Shiva. It depends on whichever God. Again, here the choices are many. Like the Pratik Upasana, Dheya Upasana also, the choices are many. The question is, Dheya Upasana is possible because of three things. Vidhi, Vishwas and Ichha. Vidhi, Vishwas and Ichha. It apparently sounds a very simple statement. What is Vidhi? Vidhi means that Vakya which is there in the Shruti, Veda. So first of all, you have a Vakya. There should be something in Veda about it, otherwise you will not. Then it is there in Vedas, but I don't believe in it. Then it is not possible. You have to have Vishwas on that Vidhi Vakya. And I have faith in Veda. There is a statement in Veda, Vidhi is there, but man nahi karta hai. I have to have the Ichha also to do Dhyana. One of the reasons why Upasana is very difficult for people who do not belong to Hindu religion is because अब पत्थर लेके कैसे बैठे हैं? How can it's a stone and very hell they do so much about that. They color it and they put it in the center. Vidhi Vishwas is not there. Now do you get the difference why most of the other religion people find it difficult to have Vidhi Vishwas in Hinduism, but for a Hindu to say that there is a Christ and we have no problem at all. Why? Because we consider that also as pratika. अब आप उसको Lord Jesus बोलते होंगे, बोल लो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, we have no problem. No, but there is a mosque, there is nothing inside. Nothing also is pratika, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. Reverse is difficult. Why? Vidhi. Ishvara in a Saguna Rupa, Saguna beings with qualities, qualities being many, Saguna Rupa can be hundreds and thousands. 33 crores as we call it. And not only 33 crore gods, all creations are considered God. And they are. If blade of grass is made by God, then I should have a liberty to think of blade of grass as Lord. And Hinduism says absolutely fine. It depends on your intellect. If you have such a fine intellect to even see in the dirtiest dirt the Lord, which they have, it's possible. Or else, how can we explain that Ramakrishna Paramahamsa going in Dhyanam by seeing liquor? For us it was liquor. For him, liquor itself is also, because everywhere the consciousness is existing. So Vidhi, Vishwas and Ichha, if these three come together and you take your Dheya, that is the thing in front, as Lord himself in any form, it is called Dheya Upasana. There are three types of Upasana we saw first two. Now the reason why Upasana needs to be done is, the aim is very simple. The aim is not to just go and be in the sanctum sanctorum of Lord Krishna. No, the aim is to become Lord Krishna. Aim is not to be only in his presence. Samipa, fine. In the beginning you have to go closer. Closer is not the aim. The aim is to be one with him, Sayujya. One with him. To go towards that goal, these two are easier to achieve, because in these two, there is somebody as Lord, there is somebody as Bhakta. There is a Bhakta, there is a Lord. He is still not become the Lord. There is a Dvaita into it. One who is meditating and one upon whom the meditation is done. These two are separate. Then comes the most subtle and the most difficult last stage, where I meditate upon something presuming or putting my thoughts to such a lofty level that me and he are one. In English, this statement is very simple. In reality, it is one of the most difficult and the last step of all upasanas. And this is called Aham Graha Upasana. You will be surprised, the upasana that Tapovan Maharaj did was of this type. Tapovan Maharaj did not do Pratik Upasana. Tapovan Maharaj did not do Dheya Upasana. Tapovan Maharaj did Upasana whereby he said, I am not even Atman, I am Parabrahma. To get that Parabrahman as me. Now I am not meditating upon Parabrahma. I am the Parabrahma. Aham Grahyate. I am only Parabrahman. That means this is not, that is. That Tvamasi. That's why it is now. Now comes the question. One end we saw there is a Pratika. And we know all of them, Vishnu, Shaligram. Then we come to Lord Krishna, etc. Slowly as we move ahead towards meditation, Pratika keeps fading. Right? A time will come